Hey, check out this comment. YouTube is run by favoritism. If you are not monetized, YouTube will not push your videos. They are trying to control who does and doesn't get seen. YouTube, before monetization, used to be grateful for just having people upload videos, so they would push everyone's video based off tags. Since monetization came around, they feel like we need them, so they're being picky on who they make famous, also known as control or favoritism. We need to stop allowing middleman apps like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube get away with this and say, if you don't start paying every account 1 cent for every like we get, we all will delete our accounts. They need us, not the other way around. I want to take a moment to address this comment because I think many of us on YouTube actually feel the same way as well. And probably the big question here is YouTube really robbing us? I know some of you are feeling angry because you're not getting compensated for the content you create, which is fair enough given that you have put your blood, sweat, and tears onto it. And you all have all the rights in the world to feel that way. However, I am going to say that I don't think YouTube is doing anything wrong here. If anything, they're just running a business. I can't find the right words to explain why that is the case, and it is hard to justify why I think that way. So let me tell you my experience that led me to thinking this way. In the past decade or so, I have been in a few businesses and side hustles. Restaurants, mobile apps, network marketing, Amazon, YouTube, and out of all of them I tried, YouTube is the one where I feel I actually have most control over. I guess it is no secret that I treat YouTube as a business. I think there is tremendous potential on YouTube, and once you build it right, the opportunity we create for ourselves is huge. And when I see YouTube as a business, I can't help but compare running YouTube to the businesses and side hustles I ran in the past. Let's pick my experience with restaurants as an example, because everyone dreams of running a restaurant for some reason. Running a restaurant is obviously not easy. It has lots of overhead, lots of planning, and lots of capital. But I guess the most important part for a successful restaurant is finding the right people to work with. You can go at it alone, but it is just far riskier if you do not know what you're doing. I ran 2 restaurants in total. Of course, I'm not the sole owner here. There are about 3 different shareholders as well. At the start, business was thriving. The business was making between 40,000 to 100,000 a week, and it was nuts. I thought I hit the jackpot. But the nature of restaurants is that it tends to do very well at the start, and then it starts to dwindle downwards because people get bored. It's kind of like blowing up on YouTube, right? If YouTube decides to push your channel, you get tons of views and you're feeling over the top. But once it stops, things go down and you try your best to push it back up again. The only difference between YouTube and running a restaurant is when a restaurant starts to fall, it is very difficult to push it back up. Not to mention, it can cost a lot of money as well. However, one of the biggest issues I have with restaurant or any other business for that matter that I don't find on YouTube is people. From my experience, the biggest reason a restaurant fails is the shareholders, the people who I started the business with. When business was thriving in my restaurants, my focus was how to reinvest the money so that I can scale up the business. However, that wasn't what my co-owner think. Instead, their main focus is how much they can cash out and who is going to call the shots now that the business is doing well. Suddenly, everyone is fighting to claim their rights and authority. And here I am at the corner, a young little boy still thinking about how we can all make money together. So what I'm saying here is YouTube doesn't have this issue, which plays a big part in the success of a business. We have full control over what we want to do on YouTube. If we want to test things out, we can. If we want to change direction, we can. And the reason we can do so is because it is easy to change on YouTube. It doesn't cost you money unless you want to change your gears. All it takes away is your time and effort. But the most important thing here is, again, you have full control over your content. If it fails, it is on us. If it is a success, it is on us. And trust me, when you reach success with your own bare hands without relying on someone else's, the feeling is amazing. Okay, so that is the reason I think YouTube is great. It is the flexibility and control over our own work. But I still have not answered the question. It still feels like YouTube is robbing us of our content and making money off it while we get almost nothing. Alright, so back to my story about my restaurant for a minute, because it sort of links back to the treatment we get from YouTube. My restaurant is located in a mall, and one thing I learned from that is that the one who can determine the success of my restaurant is also the mall. If they want me to succeed, they'll rent me the lot where it is the busiest. If they want me to fail, they'll give me the lot that is hidden in the old building. So if you run a business, of course you want the lot which is the busiest, right? And that comes at a hefty price. If I remember correctly, the agreement to rent that space at that time was $15,000 a month, or 10% of our business's sale, whichever is higher. What that means is if my business is making $300,000 a month, my rent becomes $30,000 a month instead of $15,000 a month. This is how much power the mall has, and there is no negotiation. Why? Well, if my business doesn't take it, someone else in the line will, so I better decide fast. To them, it's an opportunity given to my business, but it doesn't end there. If my business underperforms, they also have the right to not renew my business contract. So in a way, my business is put under probation every single year. It sounds unfair, right? It is like my business is at their mercy. Now you can say that I don't have to go with the mall. I can rent somewhere cheaper outside. Yes, I can do that, but when it comes to restaurants, a strategic location can make or break the business. At the end of the day, doing a business is about creating a win-win situation. The mall was getting a lot of money out of my business, and so they gave us the best spot and they heavily promoted us. And my business in return thrived and made me a lot more money than I can imagine. And sadly, that is the reality of this world. It is not just for restaurants, it is almost in everything we do in life. There is favoritism no matter where we go. It is the same for jobs, right? Even if you work 10 years for the same company, someone else who joins the company just a year ago may get promoted first because he or she brings in more sales. So basically, YouTube is like a mall. It is their platform, it has high demand, and therefore they call the shots. We as creators on YouTube have the choice to either be on YouTube or leave YouTube. YouTube never said we have to stick with them. We can go to TikTok or create Instagram Reels. YouTube is not pushing our contents because we are these new creators who haven't proven ourselves yet. And it is difficult to do so because of the high competition. So that's why YouTube tends to stick to pushing the same creators just to be on the safe side, thus creating that win-win situation with the creator, just like my restaurant and the mall. And small channels like us are left in a very tough position. So we get angry, we whine, and we just want to let some steam out. So that is why I don't really have hard feelings for YouTube, because I don't think I am entitled in any way. However, I'm sure you have heard before about the good old YouTube, where anything you post just get views and you just wish it was like before. I think I know why, and I hope I can answer that. So back to my mall story. Do you know when the mall has no power over any business? That's right, it is when the mall is newly opened and they have so many vacancies and they have to fill them up ASAP. When YouTube first introduced this whole creator industry, they needed people to join in order to increase the amount of content. Back then, competition was low, no one knows what to create, it was free for all. And YouTube back then needed to help these early adopters as much as they could because they believe in YouTube. And that's why YouTube was so responsive back then. But now there is an abundance of creators and it becomes almost impossible to help each and every one of us. So they created the algorithm for it. It is a simple supply and demand. Here's another example. You remember when the App Store came out and everyone was creating random iPhone apps? Those apps were so random back then, but those who jumped on the bandwagon early, like WhatsApp and Instagram, well, they made it big by being early adopters. Again, I don't blame YouTube. If it was me running a platform, I definitely favor those who supported my platform at its very early stage when no one believed in me. And when my platform grew big, it is thanks to the early adopters who helped me. So naturally, I put more focus in helping them too. As the platform begins to grow, there will be a group of late adopters who join and expect the same treatment as well. But is it fair for me to give the same treatment as the early adopters? It's like running a restaurant. When you make it big, suddenly old friends and family start contacting you and they want to get a cut of your business by opening a branch, or they want to borrow some money. I think it is a normal thing to happen. I'm sure when my channel grows big, there will be those who will say, I'm not helpful, I don't respond to their comments, and so on and so forth. But I know my priorities, so I'm not guaranteeing anything here. But I hope you understand that if things are not working for you on YouTube, you have the option to quit. So do what makes you happy and don't put too much stress on yourself.